In the second round of the NBA draft, Bronny was selected by the Lakers with the 55th pick and fulfilled his dream of becoming an NBA player. However, corresponding questions and doubts inevitably arise. Bronny only averaged 4 points per game during his college years. There has been almost no players who could enter the NBA with this kind of data. The recent poor performance in the Summer League has also deepened fans' doubts about this matter. In fact, a Bronny got into the NBA because of LeBron is a relatively mainstream view. Few people think that Bronny could be selected based on his own ability alone. However, considering that Bronny has suffered from heart problems and performed well in trials, we cannot judge prematurely. So, in this issue, we will put aside other off-court factors and only consider factors such as on-court ability and potential to talk about whether Bronny can play in the NBA. Before the specific analysis, let's set a premise. Because Bronny suffered a heart problem in his freshman season, his NCAA career actually did not have an adaptation process. He missed a lot of work in the early stage and ended his college basketball journey in a hurry. Therefore, his college data actually do not have much reference value. In this issue, we will only talk about Bronny's level from the two aspects of potential and exting ability. In this year's NBA Combine physical test, Bronny's barefoot height was 186.7 centimeters, his weight was 95.44 kilograms, his wingspan was 201.3 centimeters, his hand length was 21.6 centimeters, his hand width was 24.1 centimeters, and his standing reach was 250 centimeters. At the same time, his running vertical leap was 102.8 centimeters, ranking 4th among the 2024 rookies. Judging from the physical test data, Bronny has a typical point guard in height. His static talent is relatively ordinary. The two highlights are a wingspan of nearly 15 centimeters more than his height and a heavy weight of 95 kilograms. In terms of dynamic talent, the fourth best leap among the 2024 rookies proves that this young man's athletic ability is not mediocre. He still inherited some talents from his father. Although Bronny did not inherit LeBron's historical level talent, he already has the physical foundation to play in the NBA. This weight and leap are still above the medium level on the guard line. Even when facing some guards of the same height, he still has certain physical advantages. Objectively speaking, Bronny's problems in the NBA mainly come from the aspect of basketball skills. Although he has the height of a point guard, he does not possess the skills of a point guard. Bronny's ball handling and dribbling skills are relatively mediocre, without much variation and creativity. He is unable to get rid of defenders purely through handling and dribbling. Compared to top point guards, his change of direction is insufficient in speed, and his feints appear slightly stiff. In another play, Bronny faced the defense, made a drop step and then directly broke through on the left. During this period, he also made a rhythm pause, but it did not deceive the defender at all. Finally, he managed to draw a foul with his wingspan and confrontation to cause a foul with difficulty. This round shows that although he has specially trained his dribbling rhythm, it is difficult for him to make a natural reaction with his body after reading the defense. His offense seems more like being pre-planned from the beginning. At the same time, because he does not have a fast first step to start, it is difficult for him to shake off the opponent by speed, and the skills of his offhand when holding the ball are also questionable. Therefore, Bronny is difficult to become the first point to initiate the team's tactical offense. He is more dependent on the following way of get past defenders: as a wing player outside the three-point line to receive the offense, receive the pass from his teammate, fake and then dribble directly, break through the top defense, and then carry out subsequent attacks on the basket or mid-range jump shots. If from the perspective of a 3D player, this kind of ball handling skills is actually enough. In the NBA, he will certainly not have as many opportunities for holding the ball and attacking as in the NBA combined. Being able to be a receiving point outside the three-point line and make a breakthrough after receiving the ball has met the requirements for a role player. At the same time, we need to note that Bronny, as a 3D player, has another outstanding skill: passing, which might be inherited from his father. Although his ball handling and dribbling ability is average, his passing technique is very good, and his passing vision and passing awareness are both excellent. For example, in the following round, after receiving a handoff pass from his teammate, Bronny directly charged inside strongly. The opponent's defense came very quickly and completely blocked passing route above Bronny's head. But Bronny was not panicked at all. He jumped in the air and made a precise bounce pass, finding his teammate who was open under the basket, causing the opponent's defensive foul. This kind of handling of the ball against help defense is very impressive for a newcomer. It shows that even if Bronny cannot play as a point guard, he can be like White and Holiday of the Celtics in the game, playing a role of being able to handle the ball for the second time, which will provide good tactical value for the team. But I don't know if it's due to habit or ability. Most of Bronny's attacks are concentrated on the left. It seems that every time he handles the ball brilliantly, he also occurs on the left. After entering the NBA, this problem might be targeted, and this is an aspect he needs to balance. But fortunately, he is a right-handed player, so this should not be difficult to balance. To be a good 3D player, shooting is essential. Bronny still needs further improvement in this aspect. His three-point shooting percentage is far from the standards of an NBA player's, and he might even be a point that is completely missed. However, considering that Bronny shot 19 of 25 three-pointers during the tryout, which proved that he at least has the potential to develop three-point shooting. Whether he can develop a qualified three-pointer shot that will not be missed during his 3-year rookie period, it is the biggest factor that determining whether Bronny can ultimately stay in the NBA. Many doubts about Bronny's inability to play in the NBA come from the offensive level, and this is indeed the case. Due to his height and technical characteristics, Bronny can only play as a 3D guard, but he doesn't have good shooting for the time being. This is equivalent to removing the A3A from the 3D.
So, how is Bronny's defense?
Considering factors such as height, weight and wingspan, Bronny should play against guards most of the time, and can also look after some lightweight wings under 2 meters. As we mentioned earlier, Bronny weighs as much as 95 kilograms. Judging from Bronny's college games, his defense can switch back and forth between aggressive and steady types, usually depending on the opponent he is defending against. For example, in the following round, when Bronny is defending, he won't reach out easily and won't be deceived by feints at all. He just covers his opponent with his body. And it's worth noting the small steps he takes when moving forward to defend at the end. This kind of small steps is the key for him to closely follow his opponent. He is in this defensive state for most of the game, but when the coach needs him to increase intensity, his defense will become the following. Facing the guard, he directly uses his body, and his 2 hands keep interfering with the opponent's dribbling through defensive pressure, finally forcing the opponent into making a mistake. Bronny's defensive footsteps in this round are highly commendable. When the opponent turns sideways to face him, he leaves a gap on the right for the opponent to move, but this position is actually a trap because there are sideline and baseline players there. If the opponent doesn't get past Bronny before this, it will eventually result in a double team by Bronny and the baseline player. And during this process, Bronny constantly applies physical confrontation to prevent the opponent from speeding up, ultimately causing a turnover. If you observe the top defenders in the NBA, you will find that all their defenses consciously drive the attackers to places where they can be double-teamed. In this regard, Bronny is already relatively qualified. Due to his strong body, excellent wingspan and lateral movement ability, Bronny can provide Beverly-style defensive pressure in certain rounds. And with the improvement of his strength, he also has the opportunity to become a good defender in the NBA in the future. At the same time, Bronny's help defense also has certain highlights. Although he is relatively small in stature, Bronny has good jumping and movement abilities. He can quickly move to the position of help defense to assist his teammates in double teaming. In addition, like his father, he loves chasing and blocking opponents during fast breaks. The moment he takes off by stepping is really very similar to LeBron. Bronny's defense is much more mature compared to his offense, but we must point out that there are also a defensive concern on him, his size. After all, Bronny is a short guard with a barefoot height of only 187 centimeters. He naturally has the disadvantage of guarding forwards. Not to mention against heavy forwards like LeBron, even for taller guards, it's very difficult for him to defend. Of course, this problem is also common in the basketball world. Every small guard has the problem of being easily targeted. Curry and Irving encounter such troubles. Among guards who can defend forwards, such as Holiday and Paul, are all at the level of defensive lineups. And even of them, when facing forwards taking direct strong shots, they are also powerless. From both the offensive and defensive ends, Bronny has certain potential, but he still faces considerable challenges if he wants to gain a firm foothold in the NBA. At least after analysis, there is one point that we indeed cannot deny. That is, with Bronny's current ability, it is very difficult to continue playing in the NBA for a long time. The biggest constraint is the shooting accuracy, which almost limits Bronny's down of playing time. At the same time, as we emphasized before, he needs to increase his ability to handle the ball on the right, and if he develops according to the 3D player, he can consult the new Lakers coach Redick more on how to maintain the heart rate and improve the shooting accuracy while running, and learning catch and shoot after running can raise his value to another level. At the same time, his defensive skills can also learn more from Holiday or Paul. He needs to learn how to face offensive players who are taller and stronger than himself, as well as guards who are at a much higher level than in the NCAA. On the other hand, after the NBA season starts, if Bronny wants to stay in the league for a long time, he will most likely have to go to the development league to practice. There are many such opportunities. This summer, he still has to focus on his personal shooting skills and defensive skills. Sometimes, the best care for a young person is not boundless praise. Reminders and urgings often can stimulate one's will more, especially for those young people who are striving to become professional athletes.